Hello. So it brings me great privilege to introduce a panel session now. We're going to be touching on the topic of growing farmers. We're going to be discussing how we bring new entrants into an industry which so vitally needs them. I'm joined by four incredible individuals. I've got Simon, I've got another Ben, you can't have too many Bens, Stuart and Martha. And what I'm going to ask them to do, in their own words really, is introduce themselves to you. So if we start with Simon, would you take it away, please?
Hello, Simon King, farm manager for Wharton Agriculture in North East Lincolnshire. We're a 6,000 acre business, mostly arable with some beef cattle as well. I look after a team of 9 staff. So we've got a huge range of ages from 70 down to 17. And our emphasis has been on staff succession over recent years and making sure we have a sort of seamless transition from one generation to another. So it's been our plan.
Perfect, thank you. Ben, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. So my business focuses on recruitment, retainment and the well-being of farm staff in the UK. And my message is quite simple. Profitable farms will generally be underpinned by happy people. Perfect,
thank you. Stuart, perhaps a little different background.
So my name's Stuart Armitage. I'm the farm manager at the Warriner school farm. Most of my background has been working in zoos, but agricultural colleges as well. So into commercial farming now that's part of a secondary school. So it's quite unique what we do at the farm. Look forward to telling you a bit more about it.
Brilliant, and Martha, please.
I'm Martha and I'm the commercial manager at Withernay Limited, which is my family feed business. We're a bit unique and we repurpose former foodstuffs, particularly infant formula milk, into young animal diets, mainly for pigs. Alongside my role at Withernay, I also am in my last year studying an animal science degree at Anglia Ruskin University, which gives me quite a good insight of regular interaction with nearly graduates who are looking to enter the industry. I'm also heavily involved with the AIC's Future Forum, where in feed we've had quite a vacuum of people between graduates and directors. So we've worked by producing careers resources, going to careers events, which has given us real insight into what GCSE school children are looking for in their careers, which I'm really excited to share with you today.
Perfect, thank you. And the purpose of this panel really is for the audience, those of us who are struggling with that perennial problem of attracting talent, keeping talent and bringing those new entrants in. We want you to bring your questions to the audience. So if we can start to bring the lights up, I'll start with a question. In the spirit of positivity in what is quite a challenging labour market, what do the panel see as the opportunity for new entrants into agriculture? And perhaps, Martha, if we start with you.
Yeah. I would actually say it's the breadth of roles we have available. As everyone in this room knows, and today and yesterday have really established that farming is more than tractors. We've noticed, particularly over the last year, there's really great interest and it's growing more and more in sustainability and tech, and people are really, really interested when you talk to them about it. We have a raw materials game that we've had on the careers stand, and children want to talk to you about, actually that's really sustainable, you're using byproducts, and they're really interested in how forward-thinking the roles are.
Brilliant, thank you. And Stuart?
So at the school farm, we get a lot of students that want to come and spend more time down on the farm. Unfortunately, the farm doesn't teach agriculture anymore. The course that it does run is animal care. So we do get students that come down to study something specific, but then we are inundated with members of staff around the school that want to send students down to us that know that they would benefit from spending time down on the farm. With whatever it is that we're doing at that time. So it gives them some of those skills that they may not know that they had by coming to school and just learning something practical, not necessarily in a classroom.
Brilliant, thank you. Ben?
So my angle, sort of touching on what Martha mentioned with technology, I think if we look back 5, 10, 15, 20, technology's always been coming through, but we're in a period now, I truly believe, tech, AI is automating things like never before. And the young people, any people I speak to about jobs and recruitment, one of the biggest things they're looking for is flexibility in their role.
Yeah.
And tech, especially in arable farms, which is my background, is taking out a lot of the running around, the manual checking of stores, systems, machinery, irrigation. It's enabling people to not just manage farms, but whichever part of the business you're responsible for, to do it remotely more than ever. So I think that's a big opportunity. We need to tell more people about that, how it works, and what are the benefits of being able to do a lot of your farming remotely now.
Perfect, thank you. And Simon?
Yeah, well, I mean, for us, so we took 2 apprentices on 12 years ago. Both are still with us. We've had 3 placement students since then, and we're on our 4th apprentice now, who's been with us since September. She's doing very well. We find that, so we get everyone together on a Monday morning, and then for the rest of the week, everyone works out of individual yards. So we've been able to give people responsibility for maintaining, keeping those yards tidy, and also with some of the tasks, grain outloading. One chap, he liaises with hauliers. I don't have anything to do with it. I sell it, and then he complains that I've sold too many different products at the same time, and he can't get it all out. When we're combining, our combine driver, who's 27, he'll manage the harvest team. I do not tell him, yes, it's still all right, please keep going, because something always goes wrong. And our other apprentice, so he does the day-to-day management of the suckler enterprise as well. So I think there's a huge opportunity, particularly in our area with large numbers of sort of current staff coming towards the end of their careers, for people to come and take on quite a degree of responsibility, which then allows my role to expand into estate management, properties, and that kind of thing as well.
Perfect. Well, that ties into a really good question on the app, actually, and have your questions because we'll go to the room next. But when you're looking at this succession, and we've already talked about flexibility and sort of changing attitudes to technology and that desire for responsibility, the question that's often asked outside of pay, which is obviously very, very important, what are the other key factors, offerings, or elements you feel are needed to retain and develop new staff? Ben, given that's the core of your business, perhaps we'll start with you.
So I think making sure the absolute basics are in place and are done well. I read a stat the other day which, to be honest, shocked me to my core, that the UK workforce across all industries, including farming, 60% don't take their full holiday allowance each year.
Okay.
Holiday is not a benefit, it's not a perk, it's a legal requirement, 28 days. Now, 3 out of 5 people aren't taking all that on farms. That no wonder we're struggling a little bit to keep good people. So I think the basic, I mean, if you're going above and beyond the 28 days, fantastic, you're one step further already. But if you're honouring that, even better. So my say would be the basics: holiday, welfare facilities, and taking an interest in people. To be honest,
It's funny you mentioned welfare facilities. I would imagine, and Martha, I'm going to intuit there's a gender challenge sometimes with some farm welfare facilities. But I'll point out, I've seen some personal challenges on some farm welfare facilities. Martha, if we head to you, what's your opinion across that question?
I can confirm if you go on a pig farm as a female, the showers are not that pleasant. But I think for us, we're a small family business, and we've really focused on, we're not a big team of staff, but we're dealing in dusty conditions. And like farming, they're challenging conditions which, you're not out in the rain, but if you're in that dust all day, it can be not quite very pleasant. And so we've really worked on, we listen to our staff and we talk to them of going, if they've got an idea, we always listen to it and we talk through it and go, well, actually, we can't do this, but what about this? And work to improve those conditions. And I think when it comes to staff, it really is, it's when times get tough, I would say, that we're there for them. We'll chat to them if they've got an issue, and we'll go, right, what support can we give you? Whether that is they have the afternoon off because their child's got a Christmas thing and they've forgotten about it. Good, no, that's fine, we can cope. Because in the end, that I think that their loyalty does repay and you get a much happier team of staff, much more productive, who are working towards the business goals.
I suspect that word loyalty is going to be quite key across the piece. Simon, and then we'll head to Stuart. But Simon.
Yeah, we as far as we can operate quite a degree of flexibility with staff for time off. Like you say, going to nativity plays. Our farm administrator wanted to go and see her sister in Australia, so she had all of December off. There's lots of things you can do. The combine driver went out to Australia to learn about how to drive a combine at someone else's expense, which is great. So I think a lot of it is you've got to understand what people are looking for from work.
Yeah.
You know, are they coming to work because they want to take lots of money home and buy a big TV? Are they coming to work because they want a sense of belonging and identity? What's their aim and goal? And that's different for everybody, and that's where you've got to understand what people are looking for and try and tailor that role, remuneration, whatever you want to call it, to what they are looking for.
Perfect, thank you. Stuart.
I think the people management side of it can be overlooked as well. It's learning the way that you need to learn how your staff learn those skills that you need them to have. So whether that's a member of staff or whether that's a student that's down on the farm, you have to take the time to learn how people learn, to give them the skills that they need to move forward. As well as being able to offer things like CPD if they are interested in wanting to learn something that you can't provide for them, send them off to go and learn that skill somewhere else. And just giving people a chance, I think, is big.
Perfect, thank you. So do we have questions from the floor? We do have a few. So I will start with paddle 4, please, and then we will move on from
Hello, Tom York here, volunteer with the Farming Community Network. So, from a recruitment and education perspective, young people like myself bring a lot of passion into agriculture, but they also hear a lot of negative messaging at events or in publishings, especially quite worrying mental health statistics. What responsibility do you think that leaders and policymakers have in shifting that narrative, and what changes would you welcome and would you want to see?
Does anybody want to take that first?
Yeah.
Well, go on, Ben.
So, again, a conversation I have quite often. I think I'm going to use the social media narrative. We are a grand sum of who we spend our time around, and I truly believe that is online as well. So, if you're, and there's no getting away from it, if your Instagram feed, if your LinkedIn feed is full of sort of negativity on farming, we just get rid of it, just block it, and start picking out the people that are sending these positive messages, and the guy who asked the question is a brilliant example of that. But if there's young people in the room right now that want to step up, the industry is crying out for people to tell more positive stories on farm. So that's.
I had a lovely chat with a chap who was showing me his belted Galloways on LinkedIn as just a driver of engagement, and who doesn't love a good cow picture? Martha?
I think the social media side of things is a double-edged sword, and I think it's something we've found when we've spoken to school children is actually their image of farmers, and I know it was discussed a lot yesterday, but we've got to be really careful as an industry of the narrative we put out to people, because actually we're doing a lot of great things and a lot of really forward-thinking things, which students are really acute to and they're really interested in. And when you talk to them, they go, actually, that's an industry I want to be a part of, because it's not only we coming up with innovation, but we're welcoming innovation and we're actually using it, which is a real draw to them, but they don't know if we don't talk about that and focus on the negatives.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else to add?
I think just the important thing is just encouraging them to talk, just to try to, or knowing the resources that they can go to if they do need to speak, then that's the place.
Brilliant, thank you. If we go to paddle 2 and then we'll come to paddle 5, please.
Hello, is that working? Yeah. Hi, my name's Ruthie Peterson and I'm from the Institute for Agriculture and Horticulture. I think growing farmers is a fantastic thing, but obviously it's getting farmers as well. And I think yesterday the opportunity was missed during Emma Reynolds' speech in referring back to schools and the treatment of careers in schools. And actually, again, not even just as treatment of careers in schools, but through the entire curriculum. And I think we stand on a precipice now where we've got the opportunity to redevelop the national curriculum and to make it so much more positive. I was embarrassed as a science teacher when I look back at some of the things that I was encouraged to teach in the old curriculum, and I really hope going forward that careers is within that curriculum and that agriculture and horticulture are taught increasingly positively.
So there's no planning here. I have a massive bias as 14 years of teaching agriculture in secondary, but I'm going to exercise some bias and head to Stuart. You feel most qualified to answer that.
Yeah. So at the moment, as I say, the course that is recognised by the Department for Education is the animal care, which is equivalent to 1 GCSE. When the school taught agriculture back in 2017 was when the course ended. It was work-based learning, city and guilds, and it was equivalent to 7 GCSEs. So what we have on the farm a lot now is teachers don't know how to control students that have certain behavioural issues in classrooms, that don't learn in that environment, that come down to the farm and spend time with us. So our academic timetable now is completely chock full, but not with any kind of recognised qualification that they'll get skills down at the farm that hopefully will get them some employment off the back of that, but they won't receive any qualification from the school, which is a real shame. Because when I asked the CEO of the school why it stopped, it was because of the Department for Education, and that was that really. There's a real shame, but hopefully it will come back around.
And where does that put that farm? Because that is a very unique facility in education, but also within the local community. So in terms of your future security, that lack of support from policy, where does that put you?
Yes, balancing, really. So the school farm has to generate its own budget to keep the department running. So we are employed by the school, but the business side of it needs to make sure we make enough money to keep the farm running. So if they do value the farm, and the CEO does really value the farm as well, which is why it is still going. And what we need to do is try to get something more solid in place and hope for more funding that can come to us. We've got a large building at the moment that needs a refurb, and we need to do fundraising, whereas if we were seen as within more part of the secondary school, we could get greater funding through the Department for Education.
So to the wider panel then, your views on the role of our education in promoting agriculture?
Yeah, I mean it's key, because that's going to be the route in, or the exposure of the agricultural industry to a wider student audience. But I think the other thing is that while you need lots of positive messages, you can't hide realities in terms of economically it is pretty difficult right now. Yep. in agriculture, and I think the type of people you would like to attract, or the type of people I certainly would like to attract into business, recognise when things are difficult. Yeah. Not as in we'll never buy new machinery again, but we're going to have to think of a different way of doing this together to work forward and get through this time. And that's the type of conversations that I would have with the guys when we get back about things, and at whatever stage in their career they are, because it's important that everyone understands the financials behind it, or the hard facts. So,
Martha?
I think it's a really great point that you've made, and it's something that we've really come across, because when we're at the careers events, we're not just speaking to the students, we're speaking to the teachers. And I had a very concerning moment this year when a teacher came to me and said, I didn't realise animal feed was a thing. And I think that's really, if the students who are maybe not from an ag background, if their teachers don't know that we're a thing, it's showing a lack of understanding of agriculture, because everybody should know that animals need to eat something. I'm very, very concerned that actually what is being put to the students, we're not getting the exposure in the national curriculum, and they're never going to understand agriculture if the teachers don't.
Ben? Any insights?
Well, just very briefly, on a sort of light-hearted sort of side of that, my little girl's 5. She absolutely loves Tractor Ted. Most of her mates do. But where's the sort of progression from Tractor Ted? Yeah. You know, does that carry on in school? Is there a media company that's going to grab hold of that? I don't know. The teachers I talk to at her school, it's the red tape. The school is 20 minutes walk to the farm we live on.
Yep.
They can't walk the kids that far. They have to get buses in. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
And having lived that experience, I think the pressure of time on those teaching staff, if they could do it better, they absolutely would. That's in the same way that farmers want to better their livestock, they would. The challenge is, where is the value for them? And when it's stripped from the national curriculum and their league tables, it's challenging. So perhaps the action for the individuals in the room is through NFU, through your contacts, is apply that pressure. If you want to see it on the curriculum, we have to pass that narrative. I said we'll go over to number 5 next.
Thanks for your thoughts. And don't dish Tractor Ted. I'm still learning from Tractor Ted. Liz Bowes from Coleg Cigar, Headley Agricultural College. I just wanted to know, as our industry is changing from more of climate pressures, technology, and changing business models, do you think the current agricultural education meets the needs for the industry? And what key skills need to be prioritised?
Yeah, so looking at what we have, what can we do better? Anybody want to open on thoughts?
I think the biggest thing for me is the time constraints that we see to run the courses, and kind of a lot of, so not just where I am now, but when I've worked in other colleges, it tends to be more quantity over quality now with the type of students that are going through to get the qualification. I've seen it a lot where that student didn't meet the criteria, so they keep on putting them through it until they do meet that criteria to hit statistics. So I think it needs to kind of go backwards a little bit and actually start to focus more on the quality of the teaching going forward, for me. Good.
Any other insights?
Yeah, some are placement students. Some it's a bit of a lucky dip, really, sometimes. We've had some very, very good ones, and some, you know, that when the time came for them to leave, it was not celebrated, but it was
the right time.
It's the right time. But, you know, conversely, you know, the apprentices have been the same, you know, but a lot of it comes down to, they come with this core skills, but the biggest thing that none of them have, and this is probably an age thing, is that when something goes wrong, teaching people don't panic. Yeah. You need to, you know, the room, that's broken, I'm not really that interested, what are you going to do about it? You know, great, it's broken, you know, we still need to get the job done. Yeah. And everyone says, oh, you're so laid back, you're horizontal. I said, no. This is what we need to do today. You're not getting there with a broken machine. Yeah. And I'm not really interested how you did it, unless you did something really stupid. We need to get on.
Yeah. And you know, don't do it again.
Yeah, basically. You've got to keep that, you know, push all the time. So.
Indeed. Any other insights?
Just in terms of my studies, just as a bit of a positive, I've just completed a module on livestock technology where we wrote assignments on 3 livestock technologies, 2 which were commercially available and 1 that's still in development. And it's been really great in terms of the interaction and engagement that's brought. And I think it's a really positive thing for people going into the industry to keep us moving forward.
Okay, so I'm going to take one from the app, and then I will move to question 6, and we'll try and squeeze in 3 and then 1. I think that was roughly the order. So, ever so slight paraphrase here. In your opinion, how important is it to bring in, I suppose, not only gender balance, but a diversity of opinion into operations? Who wants to crack on that one? Just a small topic, just for, you know, part way through.
Talk about feed. So feed, we're doing pretty well on the gender balance. It's 35 to 65 female to male. But actually, when you look at the younger generation coming up, I would say actually we're maybe swinging the other way slightly. It's very balanced, and we're really encouraging people in. I don't know whether it's because it's not maybe as physically demanding, but we're definitely getting that input. And we're also finding that there is a lot more people that are coming from non-agricultural backgrounds, and I think a really fresh perspective always helps because they question why we're doing things the way we're doing it. And I think always having that questioning, which you only get from fresh faces.
Good, yeah. Question of thought. Ben, you look poised.
Yeah, again, the sort of gender balance. I'm always really really pleased with the applicants that come in for jobs I'm helping with. It's quite interesting that as soon as I put regenerative farming into a job advert, wow, the diversity that comes through for the applications there. So, look, for me, it simply comes down to who's going to do the job best. And I sit in on a lot of interviews with farmers, and I think if anyone's going through a sort of recruitment process, having another pair of eyes to bounce ideas off of is always a really good place when it comes to deciding who you want to give a job to, really.
Perfect, thank you. So, moving over to paddle 6, please.
Hello, I'm Caroline Nichols from Agricola Growers down in Cornwall. My question is, Simon, you mentioned that you have staff from the age of 17 up to 70. I just wondered how, with succession in labour, we have a range similar to yourselves. Many people worked on the farm for a number of years. How do you manage to keep the youngsters encouraged and feel that they've got career development, whilst you've also got the traditional labourers that have been on the farm, have got positions of responsibility and like doing things in more traditional ways? So I'd be interested to hear how you manage that balance, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a really interesting point, because so when we started the apprenticeship process, obviously the first thing that happens when you get new people in to a team that's been together for 30 years, the assumption is the new people know absolutely nothing at all and are completely useless, and you have to kind of break those barriers down a little bit. Luckily, our transition, so most of the sort of the larger roles of spraying, drilling, driving the combine, have all passed to the younger part of the team now. And we were luckily able to sort of dovetail that in with, we had a policy change. We went from 2 combines down to 1. The older member of staff that was driving the combine said, I don't think personally that's the right thing to do. We need 2 machines. But the young guy said, yeah, absolutely, just give me 1 combine. I'll do all 5,000 acres. I don't need any help. So that worked really well. And which he has done for the last 5 years. He's done it all on his own. And the same with the sprayer, and then we changed drills and stuff like that, and it was a good chance to sort of move the tasks at that point, but it sort of dovetailed nicely together. But yeah, there has been some challenges, but I think the older ones now are perhaps recognising that, you know, they're able to have the Sundays off or the Saturdays off, or, you know, the overtime isn't quite as critical to their income as it used to be.
Okay.
So
you've looked for those other values then?
Yeah.
Sort of shifted based on that. Thank you. Okay, moving over to paddle 3 next, please.
Thank you very much. Will Sanders from, I'm a dairy farm manager and work for Secret Mentoring as a discussion group lead as well. A great farmer once told me that we're not in competition as farmers for much, but we're actually in competition for people. So what's the panel's opinion on that kind of blockage that we face in the industry? How can we persuade our leaders, our farm managers, to kind of open up and talk about what is working on farm for people and share their story, so we can have a better narrative to actually retain the people in our industry? Because education is great and it's a key part, but something that we are missing as an industry is talking about retaining the people we've already got on farm.
Do we have some good examples of retention, actually? There was a lot of nodding there, Ben.
Yeah, I haven't come across a single farm yet that's got a waiting list of people that want to work for them. And if you've got that, fantastic. But and that's quite sad, I think. So I think how do we sort of generate that demand? It is telling the story. It's sharing what we do well, getting the the farm staff involved. Social media has to be your friend in this situation. I'm not saying go, all out on a YouTube channel. It works fantastically for some businesses, but just having a presence, and naturally I follow a lot of farm operators and people like that on Instagram. And if these people are sharing stories of finishing early to pick their children up from school, if they are putting stories up of watching rugby on a Saturday afternoon, that's sort of telling me a lot about that business that they work for. So I think it should be encouraged. If you've got people that are happy to sort of shed the light on the positivities out of their job, then all for it. Yeah.
Any other members of the panel?
We're very, in terms of staff retention, we're very fortunate in that we've quite a number of properties on farm, so everybody has subsidised accommodation provided. We do little things. Everyone gets hot meal every night at harvest time, 7 o'clock. Whether we get rained off at 8 or what, that's completely irrelevant. Just a little bit. If people have got places they need to be, whether that's family based or holidays, travelling, that kind of thing, we'll try our utmost to to accommodate that. If it's going home early for something, I'll quite happily go and sit on a tractor, so that someone else can have that time, because that's how it ought to be, really, if everyone's working together. So it's that kind of collective thing, I think.
Nice.
It's also just trying to encourage that work-life balance, because every place I've worked, whether it's been a zoo, a farm, a college, a school, it's people just go above and beyond, which is fantastic. But equally, you have to tell people to stop sometimes and actually, just go and enjoy life a little bit. Yeah. Life is far bigger than work. So.
For us, it's been quite a ongoing journey that we've had of actually attracting the right type of people that fit with our business, with us being a small family business. And we've now got to a point where actually we have a whole other family work for us that outnumber us as a family, which is quite nice as well. But then when we have a job available, we are saying to them, do you know of anybody? And then we're getting candidates that really fit. And with that, we do try and reward, and you were saying about the work-life balance, on a Friday, if we're done by 2:30, everybody can go home at 2:30, because those extra few hours, particularly with people who have children, it makes such a difference. And similarly, food's always a good one of Friday treats. We love a Friday treat, and we'll go and get cake, and it goes into the coffee room on a Friday, which always helps boost morale.
I think on a personal level as well, I can think of two stories. So one I'll steal from a presenter in one of the transition rooms this morning, Sophie Gregory. On that farm, everybody sees the goals of that farm, everybody sees the data on that farm, everybody understands the purpose of the job. They can therefore understand whether they want to do it or whether they don't. And that honesty and transparency seems to be key, and I think we need to normalise that as an industry. And then my second one was from a chap in Texas. I asked him, how do you retain staff in an incredibly challenging environment when, ICE are potentially going to raid your facility and deport a large number of them? Do you use anything novel? Do you give equity to your staff? And he looked at me like I had two heads, not because that was such a ridiculous thing, but of course I give equity to all of my staff. And it depends on their grade, it depends on their position, it depends on their graft, but that was a normal thing. And I think that normalisation is probably key. I'm conscious we've got time for question number one, and then I am going to lift one last from the app. So.
Hi, I'm Georgia Chalmers. I work at Brodie's in the north of Scotland, and I'm an OFC scholar this year, which has been ably run by Ben and Sheena, which has been great. It's been a great opportunity. I'm so glad to be here. Every week at my church in Scotland, I have a wee 3-year-old boy who runs up to me and says, "Georgia, combine." And he wants to watch videos of my dad on the combine. He wants to watch the bale wrapper, or some, cutting the barley, whatever. But his family are not from a farming background, and there are so many really young people, we've kind of touched on this a little bit already, who have an interest in agriculture at a really young age. And it seems to disappear once they reach school, and we've talked about the issues with schools and curriculums, but how would the panel suggest that everyone in this room could use their network to keep that interest among young people, which then converts into the workforce of the future, more on an individual scale rather than maybe on a policy scale?
Yeah, so what can we do as individuals in the room? What would be the thing that you would do?
I think for me, I've got quite a lot of friends that aren't from agricultural backgrounds, and I'm lucky enough to have the family farm at home. And it's always an open door policy of if they show the slightest interest in a tractor, it's you must bring them and see the tractor. And we sit them on the tractor, and that ongoing of it becomes tradition at harvest that they can come sit on a combine and have that experience, because if you keep doing it regularly, it keeps fresh in their mind. Additionally, a bit building on the tractor Ted, I did walk into a kitchen the other day, and it was about 10 or 11, I think, and there is a game that he was getting wheat from. I can't remember the name of it, but the app side of things and the games, I think there's a lot of opportunity there to build interest. I don't quite know how we get into that sector to say, please, can you make more agricultural themed games would be a great one.
Good, thank you. And I can just say, letting me sit on your tractor works at 43 for enthusiasm.
For us, so at the farm we run forest school sessions as well. So we've started doing these holiday clubs just to try and bring in a bit of extra money, called Farm and Forest. So they do some forest school sessions, which for anybody that doesn't know what forest school is, it's kind of self-led activities that the kids get to do. But they will spend half the day doing forest school, campfire, and all that. And then they'll come over and they'll do some farm activities as well. So it's starting that interest from a really young age. And we've actually had quite a lot of students that started off coming to the farm at a primary school, and then they wanted to come to that secondary school because they had a farm and they remember it from when they were a kid. So it's what we're doing seems to be working quite well, and maybe a few more places could do that.
Thank you. Ben?
Just a very small thing that we do at home. The primary school has got it's called Tapestry. It's an app, and my little girl loves coming out to the farm, seeing what I'm up to, whether it's drilling or combine, whatever it is. So this is so sad. They stopped doing show and tell in year one. What's that all about? So, but now they encourage parents to put up a few pictures once a week of what's going on in the family and stuff like that. So that's my way really of plugging farming and getting into school, because they are talking about it in school. And
schools will open their doors to you. There are obviously NFU programs, but schools want to hear this, teachers want to learn. So if you're not au fait on social media, but you are happy to stand in front of children, which is probably more scary, I'd do it. Simon?
Yeah, I mean, our house is one of the hotbeds of Farming Simulator 25. And the money cheap. Huge ranges of very expensive equipment, which I hope isn't going to translate into later life. But yeah, I think there's like I said, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of organisations. I know young farmers in our area do tractors into schools. With a huge tractor run in our local town as well, and we're currently working on allowing the local schools to give a day off for the Lincolnshire show. So that's
perfect. So, looking to bring this to an end, a question from Ken Sloan here, which I'm going to paraphrase slightly. Could each of the panellists give me one skill they think the industry should be obliged to support a new entrant in gaining as a primary objective? So
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a skill, but enthusiasm and interest. If people are enthusiastic and interest, we should be absolutely encompassing that and making the most of it, because that's how we're going to get the right applicants and keep them.
Perfect, thank you. Stuart?
For me, it's the attention to detail is trying to get them to step back and look at what they've just done or what they're about to do and really think things through as much as they can.
That critical thinking, thank you. Yes. Ben?
Encourage curiosity at every given chance. I think young people that are coming in that are asking why things are being done, questioning the status quo, they're the people that are going to take things on. Yeah.
Thank you. Simon?
I think just give it, if someone's interested, just giving them a chance.
Perfect. What's fascinating me there is none of you gave an on-farm job as a task. If we look at a lot of our education system, it's teaching people how to milk a cow, plough a field. Fantastic. Okay, I'd like to thank our panellists and yourselves in the room. So could we put our hands together, please, for Martha, Stuart, Ben and Simon. So